Turn my volume down on my ringer. Okay. Well, I would like to welcome everybody to this webinar. Thumbs up if you all can hear me clearly. Rebecca, if you want to unmute and let me know. Okay, I see some hands raised, so I'm assuming that everybody can hear me. Thank you all. Welcome to our adoption information webinar. My name is Dana Pointer, and I am the Executive Director of the Kentucky office. Rebecca Tolson is also online with me. She is an International Program Coordinator and Inquiry Specialist. Following my presentation, we will have a 30-minute question and answer period. However, you can send questions at any time in the Q&A section for Becca to be answering. This webinar is intended to provide you with a basic overview of our programs and help get you started in the process of deciding which program is the best fit for you. All right, Nightlight Christian Adoptions opened in 1959 and has since placed over, what happened? 8,000 children into families throughout our domestic, international, embryo, and foster and adoption from foster care programs, with half of those children being placed in the last 20 years. Our agency holds accreditations with IAME, which is the Intercountry Adoption Accreditation and Maintenance Entity, as well as COA, the Council on Accreditation. Additionally, our agency is part of the Hague Convention, which is an international agreement holding us accountable to higher standards for intercountry adoption. Nightlight also provides support to our families long after children arrive home through our post-adoption support services. Sorry, I had to silence something else.
And I'm not sure if it's sharing your PowerPoint, right?
Oh. Well, stop share. Let me try that again. Are you still not seeing it?
You're good now.
Okay. Having a hard time here. Okay. Before we learn about the programs available through Nightlight, we want you to know that you do not have to be a waiting family when there are so many waiting children. Through our Adoption Bridge website at adoptionbridge.org, you can learn more about children waiting for their forever family. These children may have had some difficulty finding a family because they are either older or they're part of a sibling group, or they may have a special medical need. And I will explain more about special needs when we talk about international adoptions later in this presentation. If you are drawn to adoption to meet the needs of children, adopting a waiting child is a great thing to consider. Adopting a waiting child can also reduce the time that it takes to complete an adoption. So our question to you is, why be a waiting family when there are waiting children? Next, we'll talk about finances. We know a hurdle for many families in adoption is finding the funds to be able to adopt. Nightlight's financial consultant can help you explore your options in funding your adoption with information about grants, loans, and fundraising efforts. There's also the Adoption Bridge website, which allows friends, family, and neighbors to give tax-deductible donations toward your adoption. You may need to take some time to save or spend time fundraising, but our agency is willing and we're able to help you find outside resources to help with the expense. Money should never be a reason that people decide not to adopt. I always say too that I've never had a family, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've never had a family that walked in and said, here's $30,000, I would like to adopt a child. It's broken up into, you don't have to pay all of it at one time, and it allows you time to fundraise and apply for grants as you reach each stage. All right. The first program I would like to introduce is our embryo adoption program. Nightlight pioneered Snowflakes embryo adoptions. Those state laws generally recognize this as a transfer of property. Nightlight views each embryo as a life. And on December 23rd, we were excited to celebrate the birth of Snowflake baby number 1000. Embryo adoption is a unique type of adoption because it allows a woman to carry and give birth to the child that the couple is adopting. So embryos are created when families go through in vitro fertilization, also known as IVF. Once the donor family has completed their family, they sometimes have frozen embryos remaining. These embryos remain in frozen storage until the family makes a decision. So their options are to have the embryos destroyed, they can donate them to science, or they can donate them to another family. So Nightlight accepts these donations and matches the donor families with waiting families who then receive the embryos. Some advantages to embryo adoption. Here are some of the benefits of choosing embryo adoption. First of all, you will have control over the child's prenatal environment. Prenatal bonding occurs since you are carrying the pregnancy. You will be able to nurse the child, which allows for further bonding. And there's also a security of placement with embryo adoption. So all the legal paperwork is handled before the embryo transfer. So you and your spouse are identified as the child's parents at birth and listed on the child's original birth certificate. Embryo adoption is also one of the most affordable, shortest, and least risk-involved programs that we offer. A couple of the eligibility requirements for this program are that adoptive mothers need to be between the ages of 25 and 44. Adoptive fathers should be between the ages of 25 and 54. It is open to couples who have been married for 2 years or more. And that is it on that one. This slide outlines the process for embryo adoption. So the first step is to complete an application, a home study, and make a family profile. Your Snowflakes adoption advisor will let you know when it's time to have a visit with your physician to clear you for pregnancy. You then enter the matching phase, where we will take into consideration your preferences and the donating family's preferences in order to make the best match. Once you are matched, we get approval from the fertility clinic to be sure they will be ready to receive your embryos when they arrive. The clinic will then thaw the embryos and complete the transfer. And then we hope for a successful pregnancy followed by the birth of a healthy newborn within 9 months. Now I'm going to discuss our international adoption programs. Generally, international adoption will be best for families who do not desire to adopt an infant. The ages of children in the international program vary from country to country, but most countries require families adopting internationally to be open to adopting children who are at least 5 years old, and sometimes, most of the time, older than that. Younger children who are available usually have needs that range from mild to severe. There are many reasons why a family may be drawn to adopting internationally. Some of those are listed on this slide, and they include having a compassionate heart. That is wanting to help a child who is coming from a hard place reach their full potential. And these kiddos are in care by no fault of their own, and they deserve a loving forever family. International adoption provides the certainty of custody, since many of the countries provide for finalization before bringing the child home. And there is availability of children of many different ethnicities, children of various ages, as well as sibling groups. The timeframes to complete an international adoption and bring the child home will vary by country. There are certain things to consider when you're trying to decide which country that you may want to adopt from. You may have great interest in the culture of a specific country or some other reason that draws your interest. Are there children available in that country of the age range you desire? Many countries, as well as the US government and agencies, have criteria that adoptive parents must meet. This includes age and marriage length requirements, the cost of the program, the length of process from beginning to bringing the child home, the number and ages of children who are currently in the home, the mental and physical health of the adopting parents, and there are some others. Travel is also a really big consideration because some countries require extended stays or multiple trips to the country. And now just touching on special needs a little more. The type of special needs we see can vary a great deal from country to country, as well as by the ages of the children. So special needs can include anything from a child needing glasses to being blind in both eyes, a child having speech delays or fetal alcohol syndrome. Also a child who has been abandoned, a child who's been institutionalized, they are going to have trauma. And so, you know, there are no healthy children, so to speak, that you would be adopting. They're all going to come with something, you know, even if they don't have an identified medical need, there is going to be a history of trauma in their life. Nightlight works very closely with our international families to help determine the special needs that you may be open to. And some families are really surprised to discover that they are equipped for more needs than they originally thought. Some countries consider speech and language delays or ADHD a moderate special need, but these conditions are very common for children who've been institutionalized. And with appropriate care and trauma-focused parenting, most children will improve once they are placed into a stable family. Adoptive parents will do best by knowing they need to meet their kids where they are in their development, and then to never give up on helping them heal and reach their full potential. You can explore the various needs of children by visiting Adoption Bridge and learning more about the children that are available from various different countries. Hosting a child is an opportunity for families to meet a child before making a decision to adopt. Nightlight works with KidSave, an organization that facilitates hosting children from Colombia. Typically, hosting takes place during the summer or Christmas vacation timeframe, and this allows you and your family to enjoy 2 to 3 weeks with a child in your home and allows the child to experience family life. We're always searching for opportunities to provide hosting from other countries, so be sure to look at our hosting page on our website from time to time for updates. If you decide not to adopt the child you hosted, you are still able to advocate for the child to help find a family. We encourage you, if you are interested in hosting from Colombia, to reach out to Renee at nightlight.org. It's RENAE at nightlight.org if you would like more information about hosting. And Becca, you may want to put her email address in the chat. All right. Nightlight has international programs in many countries. We recently opened an Ecuador program, and Portugal is our newest addition. Liberia and Jamaica are relative adoption only. And then the last 3 listed here, Samoa, Ukraine, and United Kingdom, are not accepting clients at this time. China is not moving forward with adoptions as of now. But each program is unique in its processes and requirements. So check with one of Nightlight's inquiry specialists to learn the characteristics of those you're most interested in, or visit our website at www.nightlight.org. Under Adoption Programs, choose International Adoption, and then click on the link for overview of all international programs, and you'll be able to find more information about that or about those. Okay, Nightlight's domestic infant adoption program can be a good option for families who desire to adopt an infant. However, we encourage you to explore our Snowflakes embryo adoption program if you are able to carry a pregnancy and want to have that experience. So what is domestic adoption? Domestic adoption is the process of adopting a child who is born in the United States. In a domestic adoption, a child's birth parents make an adoption plan and voluntarily consent to the placement of their child with an adoptive family. This choice is most often made by the birth mother. However, the birth father can also be involved, and they could be making the plan together. Our agency works closely alongside expectant mothers as they consider their options and make an adoption plan. They are shown waiting family profile books in order to choose a family for their child. And then after placement, we continue to provide support and ongoing counseling with the birth mother as needed. We also provide case management to our adoptive families through the entire adoption process. So we have dedicated family case managers who support our waiting families and assist with matching. Adoption is irrevocable once it is finalized. However, prior to finalization, laws regarding revocation of consent vary by state. There's more state-specific information that you can find on our website if you're interested in learning more about that. So is domestic adoption right for you? Nightlight only works with adoptive families who are open to openness in adoption. As we believe and research proves, it is the healthiest situation for all members of the adoption triad. Families provide at minimum updates and pictures to the agency. However, many times we'll build an ongoing relationship with the birth mother or birth parents that lasts throughout a lifetime. To determine if the domestic infant adoption program is right for you, here are some general eligibility requirements or eligibility guidelines, as well as characteristics of this program. Applicants must be at least 25 years old and under the age of 45. This program is only open to applicants who have been married for at least 2 years. You must agree to an open adoption and be willing to maintain communication with the placing parents. You should be open to accepting a child of any ethnicity. Prenatal exposure to drugs and or alcohol is a possibility that should be realized. Understand that the placing parents have the right to change their mind and decide to parent. And if that happens, families don't have to start the process over, but may be required to pay a rematch fee, and then they return to the waiting phase. Sometimes there are legal risks involved. An example of this would be a situation where the birth father doesn't agree with the adoption plan. Sometimes that will delay the process. You also want to be aware that the matching phase is on average 2 to 3 years, and it depends on how open the adoptive parents are to factors such as ethnicity and the other issues that were mentioned above. So adoptive parents must be willing to travel to the state where the baby is born, and the length of stay varies by state, but on average, it's about 2 weeks. All right, next we're going to talk about foster care, and we actually have 2 programs that both fall under the category of foster care. However, the end goal for each one is a bit different. First, we'll look at our Anchored in Hope. This is actually adoption from foster care. Adoption from foster care is a program that allows you to adopt an older child that is legally available for adoption in the United States. To qualify for this program, you must live in one of our licensed states, and they are listed there. The abbreviations for each are listed on the slide. Nightlight will work as your advocate as you navigate the foster system to match with a child who resides in another state. And the children available for adoption can be found on adoptuskids.org and the Heart Gallery of America. We also put some of those children that are available on our Adoption Bridge site. To further clarify this, the children are in the foster care system in the United States, and in most cases, they've already had their parental rights terminated. The children are typically at least 12 years old or older, unless they're part of a sibling group. And then you may have some that are younger in that group. The goal of foster care is to provide children a safe and loving home until their future case plan is determined. This means you may be called to care for a child as you work alongside the biological family for reunification. As the slide states, this program is a simultaneous calling to help with the biological family reunification and willingness to adopt if given the opportunity. Families eligible for this program must reside within a certain mile radius of one of our offices in the states of California, Colorado, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and South Carolina. Currently, we do not have a foster program in Florida. So, it's estimated that there are currently 400,000 children in foster care nationwide. Approximately 100,000 are legally free for adoption. Children enter into foster care at no fault of their own, but they have experienced trauma of abuse, neglect, or abandonment by their biological family. The average age of a child in foster care is 8.5 years old. And the children available for fostering range from birth to age 21. So, will you build your family through foster care? Foster care is the most affordable adoption choice and also provides for payment of a monthly stipend to help care for the child. Single adults as well as older couples who may not qualify for other programs are welcome to apply for foster care programs. Nightlight will work with child welfare agencies to match you with a child who is currently waiting for temporary care or a permanent home. So, which process is right for you? Wrapping up our presentation, we realize we've provided quite a bit of information, and we hope this webinar has assisted you in narrowing down the type of adoption that might be right for you. So we'll do a little recap. The first one is embryo adoption. So if you are unable to, trying to get this to get out of my way so I can see it. If you're unable to, what does the top of that say, Becca?
Unable to conceive, but able to carry a child.
Okay, thank you. I could not see hardly any of that. If it is your hope to experience pregnancy, is your heart pulled toward the idea of giving the chance of life to an embryo that is frozen? Are you under the age of 45 if you are the adoptive mother, and under the age of 55 if you are an adoptive father? Do you desire less risk and want more certainty about the outcome? Is your heart pulled toward helping a child? Are you willing to consider a waiting child or a child with a medical need? Are you able to travel out of the country? These are all things that may make you a good candidate for international adoption. I still can't get this to go away. There it goes. Okay. Are you not able or have no desire to be pregnant? Are you tired of infertility treatments? Are you hoping to adopt a newborn? Is your heart pulled toward helping a woman in a crisis situation? And have you been married over 2 years? And are you under age 45? If so, then domestic adoption may be an option for you. Foster care, if cost is a concern for you when reviewing your adoption choices, if you have a heart for helping children who need a secure and loving, but most likely temporary home, if you're 25 years of age or older, and if you reside in one of the following states: California, Colorado, Kentucky, Indiana, South Carolina, Missouri, Georgia, Oklahoma, or Texas, then foster care may be a good option. And then if you're open to adopting children over the age of 12 or a sibling group, if you have a heart for helping children who need a secure, loving, and permanent home, if you're 25 or older and reside in one of the following states, I'm not going to mention all of those again, then our Anchored in Hope program or adoption from foster care may be a good program. So here is our contact information. You can email us or go to our website at nightlight.org and click on one of the Get Started buttons to fill out an inquiry form. And one of our inquiry specialists will reach out to you. Becca, if you can grab that, a link to one of the inquiry forms, that is helpful to share. So to wrap up our time, we're going to answer the questions that have come in over the Q&A. And if we're not able to get to your question before our time is up, then you can always email your questions to info@nightlight.org. So that's info@nightlight.org. So anyway, we'll open up, and I'm going to stop. Well, I'll keep this up there and take a look at our questions. Are there any questions? Rebecca, there is.
Okay, so the first question is, what is the typical time between completing the inquiry form and receiving a response from Nightlight? I would say usually we would try to get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, like if you were to submit that on like a Friday or something, then, you know, we're not doing that over the weekend. But that would be our typical turnaround time for getting back. But if you have filled that out and haven't heard from somebody, definitely let us know and we can follow up with you on that. I also wanted to add that I will be sending a follow-up email to everyone, just kind of with basic information and links to our website, and it will include a link to the inquiry form as well.
We'll stay on for a few more minutes to see if there are other questions. Thank you all. I want to add too that, you know, we shared some of the major information, and there are some times that we can, you know, make concessions or you know, definitely call if you have questions and want to confirm information that you heard today. Please do not hesitate to call and ask us your specific question. It may be something that you don't want to put in a question, you know, for everybody else to see. So please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks everybody for the feedback. Right, so that concludes. We'll stay on for a few more minutes to see if anybody has questions, but we want to thank all of you all so much for spending time with us today, and we look forward to hearing from you all and assisting you in your adoption journey. So thank you all. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.